Hallo, agus fáilte go trí seascad den prògram ag h-Alba le saoil spòrs an ban Alba ag a chríomh. Se seachcin go más sgeulachd a an gása agus an cóide skipa trí seascad or sé an céadamh prògram acing. Son sin a chóirichuch a úr cholarúm san stiúidio rionnag karate na h-Alba Niamh Junner. Prògram na heiche noch, cluinntinn minn arpais karate migéirigh ag Niamh hall an san éifit. Cúteach gaibh si fachgal i rionnag aoigh taekwondo agus GB Futures Neve McPhillie. Agus hell sin skipa ball-coise Glenrothes Strollers gus tuileach a a-mach minn mhàirsealach. Niamh, welcome to 360.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here because we did actually hear from you in season 1, which feels like a very long time ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So can you actually bring us up to date on what's been happening with you since then? Because it's been quite a big 2 years for you.
Yeah, it's been really quick 2 years, especially. And especially we were just coming out of COVID as well. Stuff was kind of coming back quite slowly. I had 2 years of no training, no competing, no travelling, so it was really difficult to kind of transition back into that way of training again. I was really lucky though, because at the end of July I was invited to one of the Olympic training camps for one of the Olympians going to Tokyo. So that was a real kick-start back into my karate again. It gave me my love again for the sport, because during COVID I kind of wanted to quit and give up because nothing was happening and there was no kind of end point in sight. So the fact that I had this to kind of go and train with some of my idols, eat with them, train with them and just be around them, it was such an amazing experience for me to kind of jump back in.
You must be so thankful that you didn't quit, because look what's happened since then.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because after that, it just kind of grew from strength to strength. And then ultimately this last year, I've had probably the best year in my karate. I got my first ever WKF senior medal. I got my second European medal and I got my second world medal. So if I'd really stopped, I would have lost three such amazing medals.
That is incredible. It's so good to hear what you've been up to. Let's just take us back to even the start for those who might not have seen that feature 2 years ago.
Yeah.
For you in karate, where did your love for the sport begin?
Well, I'd started because my wee brother was already going and I used to stand at the side and watch. And I wasn't allowed to start because my mum was like, no, you dance, I swim, I did netball at the time, I did every kind of sort of sport. And I used to stand at the side and beg and beg and beg, oh, please let me start, please let me start. So after about 1.5 years, I wore my mum down eventually and she let me start. I started about 8.5, 9. And then from then, I just started and I've never looked back.
She must be delighted now, letting you actually go because of what you've achieved.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then it took me until I was about 13 to start competing and stuff. And then I just fell in love with the full fighting aspect of it. And since then, I've just been training hard, kept my head down, and then I've managed to go quite far in the sport so far.
So you are with the seniors now.
Yeah.
How has that transition been?
It's been difficult, I'm not going to lie. Before in under 21, I was a kind of big fish in a small pond, but it's completely changed. I'm now a small fish in a very big pond. I'm up against some of my idols and heroes in the sport, standing across for them, trying to compete with them. So my training has upped, it's changed a lot. I've had to be really adaptable in order to try and compete with these people at this level, but I'm really looking forward to the challenge.
But tell us actually about the rankings where you're sitting just now and what your plans are, because the top spots are actually not too far away.
Yeah, currently I'm 35, 35 ranked in the world at the moment. My goal by the end of the year is top 20. It is a bit of a push, but this year's a very big year. We've got the Senior World Championships coming up, and that gives you 12 factor ranking points. So whatever you get, it's multiplied by 12. So it's definitely doable. But there's also Senior European Championships at the end of March, so that's also a big goal. Other Premier Leagues, which are kind of world ranking events as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for me to build my confidence, get points and just start to slowly climb up those rankings.
It's such a big year, it's really exciting for you, but also whilst all of this is going on, you do still study at uni and you're working part-time.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us how you actually balance that? Because what is a week in the life of Niamh like?
It's very busy, definitely. I actually have to write like a schedule. So I've got from 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 or 7 o'clock at night. So it's actually broken down into segments so I can plan my day very well.
Have you always been like that?
Not really, but I've had to be in the last sort of year when I'm now trying to fight senior. There's a lot more training that's involved, a lot more analysis and different things that I've had to bring into my training. So a typical day in the morning, I'll get up, I'll go training and then I'll come home, have my breakfast, then head to uni for normally a 9 or 10 AM lecture. Then I'll have lunch, another lecture, more workshops, maybe a lab, come home, eat on my way to training, and then train again, and then come home, study, go to bed, and just repeat that Monday to Friday.
And then work at the weekend too?
Yep, and then working at the weekends as well.
How do you balance that? Are you kind of in the rhythm of it now, or is that still a wee bit of a struggle? Like,
no, it's like second nature to me. I'm just kind of used to it. If anybody asked me how I do it, I couldn't really tell them, but I've just done it so often, and I'm just so used to it that it's just the way I am. But it's the only way I can do it in order to fit everything in and keep competing at such a high level.
And tell me even what it's like representing Scotland. I know, watching back your feature from 2 years ago, that was something that you always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Now you get to do that. How much are you enjoying it?
No, it's amazing being able to compete all over the world with the Scotland badge in your chest. It's always a dream for, I think, any athlete to represent your country at such a high level. But yeah, and at the moment when I'm competing abroad, there's not many seniors competing, so to be one of the only people on that world stage competing with the national badge of Scotland on my gi, it's a really special moment for me.
It's brilliant. And we were talking about your coaches too.
Yeah.
We were actually talking about languages before we started filming. It's very interesting because you did do Spanish at school,
yeah,
which does help you with one of your coaches now too.
Yes, of course. One of my coaches that helps me internationally when I compete, he's Spanish. So when the English is obviously the most spoken language in the world in karate, so when you're fighting, the coaches can understand your tactics and what you're saying. So sometimes we do converse, or he shouts at me in Spanish my tactics of what to do, so then the other opponent can't figure out what we're planning to do.
And it helps?
Yeah, definitely. I've won a few matches on it, so it definitely works.
And then what about you sometimes, if you are competing against maybe some English competitors, you then switch into Scottish?
Yeah, well, the Scottish accent's very hard to understand, as a lot of people know, so if you speak quick enough and fast enough, then the English people do find it a wee bit more difficult to understand. But yeah, it's just the kind of normal dialect we speak in.
Oh, Niamh, it's brilliant. It's great hearing about your career, everything that's going on. There's still a lot to get through, so we will be coming to that very shortly. Wel, yn talmanis, cluinntinn fo Neve ealain ha genw mhàirsealach an yn taekwondo. Neve McPhillie chuirsa go skipa bhreatain rionnag ag gemachan Olympicach rionnag, smar sin, hill sin yn club ina del aoigh, gus barach a cluinntinn mewn spòrs agus na planachan aoigh.
Haar rionnag taekwondo Neve McPhillie a bhíonn sasan spòrs fan bhaid cóig. Agus haid gadrachug an thoiseach charáid an bheach gur a seoir spòrs hi.
And I seen my brother training, and I just seen how much he enjoyed that and like how much fun he was having, and I was like, oh, I want to do that, and I joined, and it was like a month, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I remember my best friend at the time got a better belt than me, and I was like, oh, I want a new belt, so I went again. And I've been ever since. I'd done dancing and swimming and I did a wee bit of horse riding. But I remember being in the car one day, Mum was like, you need to choose one, we can't do this anymore. And I was like, no, like, I'm going to stick with taekwondo and see how far it takes me. I think it was like being on the ring and like the feeling that you get, like even like after your fight or before, like the nerves before, and then obviously your coach like hyping you up and like getting you ready for that. I feel like just not the nerves, but almost like the excitement I got when I was in the ring was like nothing I could compare to that. So it's usually 3 1-minute 30 rounds with a 30-second break, and it's best to 2 rounds. And a body shot is 2 points, and a head shot's 3 points, and a spinning body's 4 points, and a spinning head's 5, and a punch to the body's 1.
Ba tachar de saun a ras na Davíl san Niamh for a dug Neve gem go ire úd, a is sin ar bhaid cínteach an buinneachí san spòrs.
I feel like in 2019 I won nationals after like trying like years and years to win, because that was like a big competition for me then, was nationals, so I won that. And then in 2020 I won my first ever abroad competition, which was the Dutch Open, and I feel like then it was really like, oh my god, like I can do this, like this is like real for me now.
Yanni skip a GB Neve a stein sarvach seo, a is chuim na farpas in a chain, a is chuim Neve oralish in tarvachas.
My Euros, my first ever junior fight, I went to the European Open in Bosnia with Team GB, and I won a bronze medal, which was like amazing. And then in August this year I went to the World Championships, which was like so hard to get selected for. And I went just going to fight, not even like thinking about medals, and I went and won silver. And like as well, like just knowing like I am second in the world is an amazing feeling.
Ha Niamh na páirste buin talent skip a GB, agus a dóchsan mór a aoigh san tamraíteach san spòrs. Ha uasach tangles na corman herbriaike mar ha, is siúm an cursin tool agus a farpus san spòrs ha sgeulachd.
I love it. I feel like it's such an amazing opportunity to have, and like something that will stay with me forever. Like all the memories I've had with different people, like getting to know new people, friends, and like my family watching me. I love making them proud, and like how it makes me proud as well. Like looking back on it will be amazing as well. Yeah.
Ha Niamh leit toiseach leis an taiche huairí a skip a GB. Ach ha cuideach lua an a bhí a molgan taich agus coachach a huairí von a club in a dal haris in a bliannaich.
Definitely, if I didn't have my club, Team Elite, I don't think I'd be anywhere where I am today. And Jennifer and Jonathan as well helping me. They've always got my back, and there's never a dull moment. We're always having fun and always smiling. So it's like, without them, I don't think I'd be where I was. And my family as well, my mum, my dad, everyone behind me really helps. Yeah, it's so good to have it straight at my doorstep, and like the amount of people, it's not just a club, it's not just a hobby, it's like my family.
Sin na Olympics an amas is smó ag Niamh, agus ha mar ha a gobar cruig agus a céit san dóin eile chéna leisithil san spòrs. Le turas go dachaí taekwondo an bliannaise.
Yeah, my end goal is definitely Olympics, but I've got another Euros which I'm wanting to win. And then as well, at the start of the year, I have a camp in Korea where I'll be spending 10 days in Korea training with all the Korean squad. Such an amazing opportunity. I can't believe that I'm able to go where obviously taekwondo was made and found. So I think it'll be so good to just be fighting different people and different styles.
Ha Niamh leit tangal go na dúneach taichí a tlia. Ha na sapachin agus na dúis go léir bhuanaich sí san dreuchd jaibhsan.
Always like thank my coaches because they do so much for me, and without them I wouldn't have got where I am today or get even further. So I was just like being grateful for everything, not taking anything for granted, and just like how proud I am of all the hard work that I've done, like paying off.
A lot of similarities there, I can imagine, number one being your name. But did you watch that and think, oh wow, there's so much there that I can resonate with?
Yeah, definitely. We've really got similar stories. When Niamh won her first kind of big medal and a turning point in her taekwondo career, it was really similar for me. It took a certain medal and a certain milestone to hit in order to have the belief to realise that I was actually quite good, and it seems it's the same with Niamh, and she's just grown from strength to strength as she's continued her taekwondo journey.
The other one I was going to check was Niamh was also talking about there was one day she just had to decide what sport that she kind of had to choose. Did you have to do that too when you were kind of playing all these different sports?
Yeah, I did hockey at school, and I was also quite talented at that, and the school wanted me to play for their team, but it clashed with karate on a Saturday morning, and I got to the age where I had to pick, was it karate or was it hockey? And at the moment when I look back, I was really bad at karate, and I don't know why I picked it.
Really?
But now I'm really glad that I did, and I didn't pick hockey. But yeah, I can see where Niamh's coming from again, that you start out doing so many sports, but it does come down to that moment where you have to just pick one if you want to excel in it.
And look at the two of you now, it's great to see. What kind of advice and what would you say to Niamh as she's at that stage in her career?
I think just keep enjoying it, keep loving it. She seems like she trains so hard and loves the sport, and having that love for the sport is so much for anyone, and she seems like she's got such a bright future ahead of her. So I would tell her just to keep training hard and take advice from everybody around her, because she seems like she's got so much support from her coaches. She's obviously got the pathway for the GB, which is so exciting, and obviously her friends and family, so she just needs to keep all those people around her that support her to keep her going in her journey.
And it's like you say, it sounds like she's got such a great coaching team. How important is that in these kind of sports?
It's actually so much more important than a lot of people think, because in taekwondo, karate, any kind of fighting sport, it's an individual sport, whereas you've got hockey, football, you're in a team. So even though you're on the mat by yourself, you've got so much more people behind you actually off the mat. So your coaches, your training partners, your physios, anybody who kind of adds to your journey is such a big team. And she talks about them being more than a team and being a family. And it really resonates with me as well, because they are really a family. You're with them probably more than your family sometimes, so they do need to be a really good group of people to spend your time with.
And they're with you through all the great times when things are going really well, when things aren't going so well too. How much do they kind of help in lifting you back up?
I think they're so key to have different groups of people as well, because they see you at your best, but they also see you at your worst. And having them know so much about you, they're able to try and pick you up and get you back to performing at your best. And sometimes it can take longer than others, but having the right people there for you is honestly the best.
Did your team help in getting you back into karate, especially like what you were saying at the start after COVID?
Yeah, definitely, because everyone was kind of feeling the same way. But when there's such a big group of you, at least one person's feeling good at every training session, so you do kind of have to rely heavily on that person. But at some point it's your turn to pick everyone else up. So by switching the roles about, you can always bring each other up to get the best out of the training session.
Oh, it's really great to hear. It's so lovely. But also another thing that Niamh mentioned was the Olympics. I mean, for her to have that on the horizon, how big is that, with that being the goal?
I think it's absolutely massive. I think most athletes to compete at the Olympic Games for Team GB is just your pinnacle in your sport. And I think with the age she is and so young, she's got maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 Olympics ahead of her. So in order for her to get into this programme so early, there's so much potential for her there, and it's so exciting to be able to watch in, the Olympics, and for her to say, oh, maybe that's going to be me in Paris or LA. So it's exciting.
It's brilliant for taekwondo. Frustrating for karate,
yeah,
which karate was at the Tokyo Olympics,
yeah,
not planned for Paris 24. How do you feel about that?
It's frustrating, obviously, because it was in Tokyo, and Tokyo is the birthplace of karate, so it was such a spectacle to be able to show the world our sport. There was a lot of good reviews. It was amazing to watch people that I'd known and trained with actually compete at it. And then when we found out we weren't in for Paris, it was really devastating news. But the IOC and the World Karate Federation are working really hard to try and find a way to try and get us back in for LA 2028. We're currently on the short list, and we're waiting for that decision to come out soon. But fingers crossed that we can get back in to be joining the other sports like taekwondo and boxing back in the circuit.
How much would it mean for you?
Oh, it would be unbelievable. It's genuinely my dream to be an Olympian. So much the fact that if karate's not in it, I would want to try and find another sport to go and compete. That's how much I really want it. But to be able to compete in the sport that I love, it would be really amazing.
Oh, it would be amazing. We so hope that that actually happens. You will find out soon though, won't you?
Yes, hopefully the IOC are going to meet, I think this summer, the year before Paris, and hopefully the shortlist will be coming out soon after that. They've got a shortlist of 9 at the moment, and 5 sports go in for LA, so we're 50-50 chance, so it's quite hopeful.
Fingers crossed for that when that comes up too. But actually just take us back to you and what you've been up to recently, because you are just back from Egypt. Can you tell us how that went? Yeah,
it was great. So it was the first World League of the year after my first real competition as a senior. I turned 21 2 weeks before I went, so it was kind of my first big tournament. It was really good. It was top 32 in the world, so very high standard, and I was fighting people from Japan, Italy and Egypt, obviously the home country. But it was great to get more mat time, more experience against seniors who are much older than me and know their way around the mat much better than me. But again, so much experience to take forward for senior Europeans at the end of March, and a lot to build on for the rest of the year.
What did you learn from that, which you now need to work on as you look ahead to these competitions coming up?
I need to work more probably my confidence on the mat. That I'm doing so much training and training so hard out with the competitions that I just need to have fun in the mat and trust what I'm doing is working. Because as soon as I let loose as well, my performance really shot up. So bringing that from my first fight, and as soon as they start the mats, is just to show everybody what I've been doing at home. I think that's kind of the main thing I need to focus on.
So you know that physically you can do it. It's more mentally that you need to kind of grow in that respect, would you say?
Mental psychology is such a big part of the sport, and as I've been transitioning to senior, I've realised how much more your mental side is important in your game in any sport, and I think Neve will come in to see that as she develops, that keeping our brain motivated and positive is so key into performing at a high level no matter what sport you're in.
What are the main things that you do to help that?
So I do the same warm-up routine every time. I've got a specific warm-up playlist. I pack my bag the same way. I analyse my opponents before I fight, so stuff that's not superstitious but keeps me calm and can kind of keep me in the same routine every time I go to fight.
Great. Oh, it's really interesting. It'll be great to see how that actually comes on and to see your confidence grow too. Yeah. But thank you very much. Na bhachan gurrid froin trini streetar agus ard chóirte na Glenrothes Strollers Fiona Redpath. Ha Fiona bhí cúte rís na Strollers is an cód is Jake Blaine agus cynne bhain go bhfuil club ball-coise has san únia sin ach cóirsnach go hógal cúteach.
Fuireach spòrs páirt mhór and an cóirsnach na mhàirsealach. Agus club ball-coise a fiachan seo dhéanú just Strollers Glenrothes.
So the Glenrothes Strollers are 50 years old this year. We're really proud to be 50 years old and be in the area for that length of time. We pride ourselves in trying to give football to everyone and all. For me, it is about the community, it's about bringing people together, it's about socialising, it's about possibly producing that next great footballer that moves on to bigger and better things.
Háisí Fiona leis a club seachtaíoch blianarais. I céad de stein na buireannaich na aoigh. In nuair sin I rais na dabaíoch sa deich, cha éireora slíon na cluinntinn a leisachach tuaisceadh a club, agus chanealaí céad de rais.
When we first started, there wasn't even a girls' league, and we were playing in a boys' league. So we were playing down in Thornton in the Fun Fours against all the boys, and got a few looks when we all walked onto the pitch with our long hair, and yeah, it was different, but it was spectacular, and the team did so well. And then I think it was into our third year that the girls' league started developing much more in this area, but we were still having to travel to Forfar, to Perth, etc., Dundee to play. But now we have a league here in Fife. It's absolutely crucial, I think, to keep it local, so that local people have the accessibility to be able to play.
That's it, my lad, keep going!
Within the club, we're looking at 140 plus girls, ladies within the club. That's not including our ladies rec because they're obviously participants, they're not registered players, but there's around about 40 of those ladies as well.
Han ball-coise a dhéanamh Fiona na fríomh bhars de na Strollers Glenrothes mhuireann. I tors corm de boireannaich de gach ús in spòrs iachin na chéad uair. Nio na chéad uair in an úne fata.
It's a great laugh. They never really had the opportunity years ago to play football amongst ourselves. We always played with the boys, or you're kind of the last one to get passed to or the last one to get chosen for the team. So it's great that the girls can just bounce off each other when we've got mummies and aunties and grannies, and it's just great.
I heard about this recreational football and I says I'll go up and give it a go, and I've never been so happier. It's not serious, it's fun. There's no pressure, nothing, just enjoyment and fun.
I thought I would forget how to play football and discovered that I haven't really. And also the same as Linda, I just everybody's so friendly and there's no pressure to be anything other than just yourself.
It's just a great laugh. Although we are quite competitive, we do like a tackle and we do like to win, but still it's quite light-hearted, and give it a shot, give it a go.
It gives you something else to focus on. Like before, all I had was my work. Yeah. But now I've got like Wednesday night. I can't wait till Wednesday night now.
Fiona sin bheach go bhfuil an sorabhachas a chlab ar a lorach, Dá raisiúnach go Iona Strollers bhí barach na dúrach club a ball-coise in Sgeulachd.
Around about 7 years ago, we changed from a football club to a community club. And that was really based on what the community wanted from us, what they wanted back. We surveyed the local area, you know, what they needed, what they wanted. And they wanted us to be more present in the community. So we were going out and doing free taster sessions. We were working with active schools, we still are. We do a walking group, we've got a food pantry. We've got the recreational side of the game. We have a safe space for girls on a Friday night where it's more like a youth club based activity. So this is what the community wanted our club to offer, and we're always developing and trying to improve on that to give back to the community that we're in.
Agus ha club has the fast. In Blianissa ha Glenrothes a chluis an SWPL round the 2 uur. It tar skippe boireannaich farpasach a raston skire a seo Iona ata.
It's probably been in the pipeline for about 6 years. My hope when I started the pathway is that within 5 years I would have under 8s all the way up to ladies, and that just wasn't possible. So we are in our 12th year, and myself and John Hutt, who's another coach with me, who's coached for a long time with us, decided that we were going to try and put a team into a competitive league for ladies. Because with the ladies rec we've got over 40 players, and some of those are ex-league players as well. And we put that application in, and at the end of November a quite experienced coach who had left our club just a couple of weeks prior to that had approached saying she wanted a fresh start and she was interested in helping us out, and I couldn't say no. Her experience will be greatly appreciated. And it has done. It's been a really quick turnaround for us because the league started on the 15th of January to only getting in the league on the 14th of December. We had 4 weeks to kind of build this squad, put it together, find the sponsors, get the strips, and we've done it. But it's now about building that and building on that and making them the best that we can be. Having the full pathway just filled me with pride. It's the first kind of ladies competitive football team in the Glenrothes area for over 24 years, and a couple of those ladies who were in that Glenrothes team 24 years ago now play in my ladies rec, and it's just absolutely amazing that we've managed to develop it. And you know, it's not just down to me, it's down to a lot of hard work by a lot of really dedicated people who've been with the club for a long time. And I can't thank them enough for what they've helped us to achieve.
Fra ball-coise ha Fiona ar cois na háiríte chruach gon seo. Agus haidjin viach gon nurin, agus gon cúm spòrs a cluiche fast on the via bearsteach bethe Iona.
I think I would have to say that I got some feedback from one of the ladies just last week who came to me halfway through the game and said, this is what it's all about, coming along, having fun, meeting new people. It's not all about having to be the best. And yeah, that's what it does. It helps with socialisation, it helps people get out of the house, it helps people get active. The girls behind me, some of them have never met each other before, but they've now got great friendships, you know, that'll probably last them for all of their lives. And I think that can only be a good thing.
Niamh, what a wonderful club in the community. How much did you enjoy watching that one?
Yeah, it was amazing to watch. It's so inspirational to see how much amazing work they're doing in the local community.
For you, growing up, was there anything like that?
Not really. I had to travel maybe 15-20 minutes to find a local football team that did women's classes. And then if I wanted to play in a team, I would have to play with the boys, which is quite off-putting for a lot of young girls. So it's amazing that these girls have got that opportunity to play football with their peers, but also with other girls.
And you can see how much they love it too. Wasn't that just great to watch?
Yeah, so many girls, they were smiling, laughing, having so much fun with their friends and like that. They're keeping fit at the same time, so it's such an advantage to be able to incorporate sport into looking after their mental health.
And Fiona has done so much for that club. How important are women like her in sport.
Yeah, she's so inspirational. I think the fact that she's been involved with the club so long, she set up this pathway for girls. There's a real future for any girl who wants to get involved in sport, involved in football, with her there and having her involved in leading that project. It's really amazing to see.
And you mentioned even when you were younger, not having that opportunity to play with girls your age in a club like that.
Yeah.
You see that they love it so much. One of the other brilliant things to see was actually some of the older women who had come back to football, and they'd even mentioned Wednesday's now their favourite day of the week. It's what they look forward to most.
Yep, sport gives such an advantage across all aspects of their life, and the fact that they now look forward to coming to exercise is just such an amazing thing. And like that, because they've obviously had a break and they've now come back and they've found that love again from the sport. Sport is just so amazing in so many different ways.
And even just having that senior team in the club now, for even the younger players who are playing, they can look up to that too and think, oh, I want to play for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think it can really inspire the movement for other people. They said they were the only one in the area to have a team, so it might encourage other girls to keep playing and try and get to that senior team, or other clubs to try and get a senior team to that sort of level.
Oh, it's great. It's so good to see. And you also do coach younger kids too, with some master classes. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I've done a couple of seminars where I go and teach younger kids, try and pass on my passion and pass on some of my experiences to the younger generation. So I really love it. It's a great way to try and give back to the younger generation. And some of the kids are they're amazing for their age. They're so talented and they've got such a bright future ahead of them. I only started competing when I was 12, and some of these kids are 7 and 8, and they're been able to score so many different punches, kicks, everything. So it's really amazing to go and teach them and try and tell them that they've got such a bright future ahead of them.
And they must love having someone like you come in and give them a master class, because I know are they up at the end of the class getting your signature? Yeah, they're up. The last time I went down to a seminar in England, they wanted me to sign their mitts, their belts, their licence books, and that was normally me when I went to seminars and asking all my idols and heroes to sign all my stuff. So the fact that now the younger generation are wanting that from me, it's really amazing that I'm able to inspire the next generation of fighters coming up. Has that sunk in yet? Not really. I'm still so young that I just keep working away, keep trying hard and keep trying to perform to my best level. But if I can inspire younger people on my journey, then it's great. And you do some coaching at your local club too, don't you? Yeah, I try and help out as well as much as I can. I'm obviously trying to train for my big championships and prep as much as I can, but there's kids all the way from 5 up until 16 as well. So anything I can give back to help them to correct their technique or just give them a wee bit of a confidence boost to say, no, you're doing great, it's really, really helpful. I don't know how you fit all that in. I know, I really don't know either, but if I told you, then I'd probably be a millionaire. I think everyone would be able to do it. I know, it's very impressive, but for these young kids actually to have a role model and someone like you, and clearly see the path of how you can achieve what you've achieved and are planning to too, is so helpful. Yeah, I think so, and especially when I was growing up, I had a couple of idols and heroes to look at, but in different areas. So the fact that there's somebody that hopefully they can look up to in me, the fact that I'm studying, I'm working, I'm training, I'm still competing at the highest level, it shows them that they can do it if they put their mind to it. And just tell us briefly, Niamh, as we come to the end of the programme, what is the main goal for you this year? Well, I've got 2 big championships coming up. I've got the Senior Europeans at the end of March, which is exciting because I got 5th at the last one, which was only my first time competing at those championships. And also at the end of the year in Hungary, we've got the Senior World Championships, which is really exciting. That's amazing. And you're feeling good about these? Yeah, I'm looking forward to them again. I'm still young. I'm wanting to just try my best and compete with the best in the world and the best in Europe in my category. But it's definitely doable, and I'm looking forward to pushing myself, doing the pre-training and just having fun and trying my best. Brilliant. Well, we wish you all the best of luck. It was so lovely to have you in, hear all your stories and all the exciting stuff. Thank you so much for having me. Well, sinné son in noch and a cheachdain be ard coach na h-Alba fó is né bliana díag Pauline Hamill colorrooms in studio. Grenur sin Jan Keen seach gewel se Valentin BBC Alba ekels gan calshiv programs in B. Cunife kutseach en dagé mejerig ek skippen na h-Alba an a coupa finiter bio BBC Alba. Nes gúrach seo ha trí seascad barach is léchiad uair de sgeulachd an cuachtoch a thuirsthúcah bhóciad is 8 boireannaich iongantach bó spòrs na h-Alba. Cluinntinn barach gaibh in atheachgain.